Ooh. Hey guys, welcome back. 'Tis the season of spooky reads. There truly is something about when the weather starts to get like a little crisper, just wanting to read something with those fall spooky vibes. So here are 5 recommendations for this season. So before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started with a classic, shall we? So Frankenstein is the story of Victor Frankenstein and the monster that he creates. Over the years, this story of Frankenstein has been retold and made into countless movies, but I think it's important to go back to the original and experience the story that Mary Shelley created. Classic books can be either a hit or a miss for me. I'm not really a person who enjoys reading every classic I read, but I truly did enjoy this one. The writing was absolutely beautiful, and honestly, I felt the emotions of the monster. Like, just thinking about it, I feel so gutted for the monster, and his passages really moved me. Going into reading this classic, I didn't know the ins and outs of it. So for me, it was just like a surprise at every turn. And it was just one of those things where when reading it, I was just like, another person died? But for me, this book does feel like the pinnacle of Halloween, especially since Frankenstein's monster seems to be featured in so many like Halloween-y things. So because of this, I think everyone should give the original a try. If you like the story and the feel of Rebecca, the Hacienda is for you. The Hacienda is based on this story of this woman who marries this wealthy widower, and she moves into his estate. But she begins to question and regret her decision when these unexplainable and supernatural things start to occur in the house, and these things seem to be targeted at her. She feels genuine terror from being in this house, and she enlists the help of this attractive priest who's also secretly a witch. He tries to protect her from the house, and there's also some forbidden sexual tension between the two of them. But don't worry, I'm not spoiling anything big about this story. All of this information is just in the book synopsis. But I did love the little side story of the little romance, the forbidden romance between them. Romance is my favorite. But with this one, I really liked also the creepy elements of it. It was supernatural. There was witchcraft. It kept me guessing on like what was going on and who was behind everything. This one kept me interested all the way through. Like I said, it very much feels like Rebecca, like it has the same storytelling and the same story basis, I guess. I'm actually reading Rebecca right now and I'm really enjoying it. But with this one, with the Hacienda, I also really liked that we dove into like the history of Mexico and kind of the more supernatural elements. I really enjoyed that. Continuing with the creepy vibes, we have Small Angels. I gave this book a try as my August book of the month pick, and I am so glad I did. This book is a ghost story through and through. There's this church, and it's called Small Angels, and it sits at the edge of this magical haunted woods. And for centuries, the Gaunt family have been in charge of being the keepers of these woods and what inhabits the woods. The story is told from multiple point of views, and it jumps around from the present, where there's this couple who is preparing to get married at Small Angels, even though the whole town is like, that's a bad idea. And it alternates chapters to the past point of view of the Gaunts and the Keeper of the Woods. And you learn throughout the story why it's a bad idea to go near these woods, and what they've been keeping in them and like what they've been protecting this town from. I really like this interwoven storytelling, and you find out the secrets of the woods pretty early on, which I was initially surprised by, but then knowing early on, I feel like it really added to the story, and I found myself curious to see how the story would end, because you know the secret, but not everybody knows the secret. And so you're like, okay, so where's this going since I already know the secrets? And I just loved how it all unfolded. So also just a side note with this one, the writing in it is really dense and very detailed, which at times did take me a little bit to get used to, but I really enjoyed the story and it just felt like a great fall ghost story. Next is Gallant. So this is a young adult book recommendation, and it's great if you want something for the season, but you don't really do well with reading like scary stuff. It has all of the great ghost story elements without being too graphic. Gallant is the story of Olivia. So she is growing up in an orphanage, and she has the ability to see ghouls, which are essentially ghosts. But she's also nonverbal, which I loved. I really want to see more nonverbal representation in books. So it was really interesting, like reading her thoughts and how she communicates with people. I thought it was really well done. Anyway, she's found by relatives that she didn't know she had, and she's invited to come live with them at Gallant. Except when she arrives at Gallant, things aren't right. No one was expecting her, and she's constantly warned that she shouldn't be there. So throughout the book, we get passages from this journal that Olivia has from her deceased mother. And the journal presents all of this evidence that her mother grew mad while being at Gallant. So now Olivia is discovering the secrets at being at this manor, and she also must prevent herself from going mad in this environment. This was a really short read, and I really didn't see the story going in the direction that it did. And then I also had a really soft spot for Olivia, so I definitely recommend it. Lastly, we have a dark romance suggestion. So this is one of my absolute favorite series ever, and I try to squeeze it in as a recommendation anytime I can. The Harrow Faire series. I really loved the Harrow Faire series. The Harrow Faire series by Kathryn and Kingsley. So it's a 5-book series. Each book is pretty short, but be prepared if you start to read the series to basically read the whole thing like all at once. So each book ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, so it makes it easy to just roll right into the next book. So I kind of treated it as like one big book. And this series is available on Kindle Unlimited. So this series is about Cora. So she is drawn to this sinister, creepy circus. And the circus has just randomly popped up in her town. Slowly, she begins to discover the secrets of this supernatural circus, all while trying to essentially escape its clutches. Kathryn and Kingsley, the author, she has a lot of series, but she is known for writing villain love interests. So do be aware of that before going in. So the series will have a happy ending, but the main male character, Simon, will not have a redemption arc, because, you know, he's a villain. So just be aware of that. It's not going to be a gushy romance book. The romance is also a bit of a slow build with a lot of tension, but with doing that, it gave the story a ton of room for world building and plot creation. The story I thought was really original. I've never read anything like this before, and I read the whole series within a few days. I was just totally captivated by it, and I just loved being in this Harrow Faire world that she's created. But I don't want to say too much about the story because I don't want to ruin anything, because there were a lot of twists and turns and things that I was not expecting to happen. Ultimately, this book gives me these spooky fall vibes because of that mystery element. You have characters that are keeping secrets, and in general, the circus of Harrow Faire is a very supernatural place. So those are my recommendations for this season. I love the fall. It is my absolute favorite. And so I am just very excited to read so many like creepy, spooky things this season. I hope that you enjoy this season as well. Thank you so much for watching today and spending your time with me. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.